We are live. Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast. I am your host, Chris Kirkwood, screen name Kirk D's. I'm here with my two boys. First, Canada's #1 DFS player, and really just showing it to everybody with a huge bink for PGA, LPGA, I believe. Was it? It was LPGA.
Yeah,
I believe.
ladies.
But
ladies.
Hey, however you get it done, you get it done. But that's how Canada rolls. That's why you're #1 Canadian DFS player, soon to be in the Canadian DFS Hall of Fame. Tyler Tamboline, toe tagging Tambo, and then also joining us is the only guy that I have ever known to show up to a holiday Christmas party in a poker tournament and have a massage girl with him on the Zoom call. Brett Hartfiel, Killer B2482. What's going on, fellas? We're back, week 16. Season's almost over. Merry Christmas, all of that good stuff. How you guys doing?
Yeah, Merry Christmas, fellas. It was a fun little gambling weekend that we got here. I mean, with NBA going off, these small slates of NFL, which I've been getting a lot of action. Hopefully you guys have been getting what you are looking to invest this weekend. But yeah, yesterday didn't really have any family functions, so got to just crush NBA at hardcore. And then also played the Friday through Monday slate for NFL. So it's just been an unbelievable weekend of just sitting back and and doing what we do best, right? A little DFS. So love this. And man, Tampa Bay up 34-0. I think Brady's gone for like 340 and like, is it 4 or 5 touchdowns? I think maybe 5 touchdowns in the first half. So Tambo, how's your Christmas, man?
It was good, man. Family life, me, dad life, living the dream. My son's first Christmas, so that was awesome. My daughter's almost 4, but she gets just as excited. So up early, enjoying all the stuff, putting the toys together, man. The train track we built today was pretty nice. That held us up a little. I apologize, boys, but yeah, all good. Good Christmas, baby. Man. Yeah, engineering degree, call it if you will. The only schooling I got. So no, it was fun, man. Fun times. Good little Christmas here. So it's a weird year, but decent week. And like I said, lots of good action. So we're in the middle of this 3-game slate, recording this, getting ready to roll it out and talk about the 10-game slate for Sunday. It's still a lot of action out there, a lot of big tournaments, a lot of money we can get after on the way out. So I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, I got in trouble all Christmas Day. So we still had to work. There was RG work to be done. There was 4 basketball games. A lot of sweats going on, and so my girl was really giving me a hard time, saying, "Oh, this is so special." As I'm sitting there tilting NBA games.
Talk about your NBA sweat.
Then NBA sweat. I had a sweat going on, and then at halftime, Tatum. Right before the half, he got hacked and they didn't call it. And so at the exact same time, he did a fist pump at the ref, and I smashed the table at the same time and banged the table, and a bottle of champagne spilled on the floor. So I got in trouble for that.
Just scaring the shit out of your
and wasting.
Dogs run away. The dogs run away. Yeah.
But the real question is how did it end? Because did you need the champagne or not? Was there anything?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't good. I mean, I had a decent day, but it wasn't. It could have been a lot better. But I had a bunch of losers. Paul Millsap is a certified waste of space. What a loser he is.
Right along with you, man. Right along with you.
If I switch to Batum, I make $100K, and I should have.
Talk about a loser though. Batum sucks.
Batum has actually looked very good in the last both games. He's actually looks. If you watch Millsap and you watch Batum, the question, it should have been an easy decision. And I watched his first game and I thought Batum looked a lot better, but I still have the Batum bias from the last couple seasons that he's just dust. But at least he's facilitating in that offense. Like he's like Millsap's just go stand in the corner and they don't even care about him.
If he becomes popular, though,
two games in, and we saw David Johnson in game 1 of the NFL season. We're foreshadowing for this podcast, but David Johnson was the best, most improved player coming back. 1-game sample, destroyed Kansas City on the ground, and now look at him, he's dust again. So we'll see what happens with these sample sizes, but I think he's going to get talked about this week as well when we get into it.
Yeah. If he becomes chalk, he's the easiest fade of all time.
Yeah, all right. So
just like Jeff Teague.
we got a 10 games, right?
Yeah,
We do
10
have
games.
some COVID tracing going down with Cleveland that just popped up last minute. We'll see if anything breaks there. But basically, Kansas City is the monster total at home against the Falcons. I'm not sure if the Falcons, at least were able to put up points last week. It's going to be a tough game for them this week without Julio Jones again. But KC's 10.5-point favorite, 54-point total. Some other games of interest. Jalen Hurst, right? Like the man, he's Hurts. Sorry, he's looking very good. Gets the Cowboys 2.5-point favorites on the road, 49.5-point total. Then we've got some interesting injury situations in the Chargers-Broncos game. Chargers at home, 3.5 points, 48.5-point total. Philip Lindsay is out for the Broncos, which should set up for a nice workload for Melvin Gordon, who does perform when given the opportunity. And then there's a lot of defenders out in that game too. Joey Bosa's out, so that game could be ripe for points. We've got Mr. Electric, David Montgomery, with the Bears, 7.5-point favorite.
Do it, Kirkwood.
He's going to be chalk. He's going to be chalk. He's finally chalk. I've been telling this guy all season, and he's here. He's now chalk, and everyone said he was the worst thing ever. 47.5-point total against the Jags. We'll see. Allen Robinson has some weird stuff going on with injury reporting. He's questionable at the moment, I think. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll talk about that. Bengals, Texans, two horrendous defenses, at least. Well, actually, the Bengals performed pretty well in their last game, but Texans is certainly a terrible defense. But Deshaun is 7.5-point favorite at home. Good spot against the Bengals, 46-point total. What else? We've got some players coming. Well, we've got Terry McLaurin out for Washington, but we've got potentially Antonio Gibson back for Washington football team at home against Carolina. Colts Steelers game, which is a game I want no part of. Rams Seahawks still on the slate. Yes, they are. With in Seattle. Seattle's 1-point favorite, 47.5-point total. And the big news there is Cam Akers is out. So that'll be interesting. But how's this slate shaping up for you guys so far?
Yeah, so obviously we're dealing with some cold weather again outside. One of the best games will be in Green Bay. So Tennessee at Green Bay. We just got dumped in Minnesota, and it looks like Roth is expecting some decent snow there, a couple inches and whatnot. So that might be interesting because I'm sure the big dog and Aaron Jones are going to be 100% in play. But yeah, a decent little 10-game slate here. Lots of, you got 7 early, 3 later. So a little bit of game theory about who to, put in your flex or pivots based upon early performance. So yeah, this 10-gamer has kind of a little bit of everything. Just keep an eye on what teams have to play for again. If there is a guy that's questionable, if he's on a team that doesn't have anything to play for, I would just stay away from that Q guy, even if he is ruled in. So like Allen Robinson, he's probably not going to be in my pool, even if he goes. So with that Q tag, because I just feel like, any little bit of injury, they're going to sit him down. So any of these teams, and I don't have if the Bears, I'm sure the Bears probably still have something to play for. So I'll have to look up everybody's playoff scenarios and whatnot. But can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I just had internet connection is unstable. But yeah, Tambo, what are you looking at for this week?
I don't know. It feels like everybody that I like is chalk all of a sudden. Like it just always seems to go this way. So we'll be, getting your guys' thoughts throughout as we go, try and pinpoint a few of these spots down. But I like, the Kansas City spot just looks elite because we just see what teams do to Atlanta. But, people are going there. At least they're always expensive to get these Chiefs. So I get that. It looks like Mahomes is going to be the most popular quarterback. But then so many ways you can stack them up and still get unique. So I'm not going to shy away from it just because he's the highest owned quarterback. Then the other guy, I know Kirkwood just joked, but it's been like, what, 4 or 5 weeks in a row now for Montgomery. That's just ridiculous. And Jacksonville can still get ran all over. Obviously, last week we weren't as sure against Minnesota, but Kirkwood was loving it.
Oh,
but
that was no joke, by the way. Montgomery is electric.
Oh, you've been saying it. I know that. Like last week was the one I wanted to jump off of, but if I had known that the future, Minnesota just got smashed for 6 touchdowns last night by Kamara. Montgomery played them last week and did damage as well. So just clearly they have they cannot stop the run. So it just makes sense of, 4 weeks in a row. I just looked it up here now for Montgomery, and now he gets the Jags, who the Ravens just did their thing with. So I think that's still, an interesting spot because he is so heavily owned. And then you got some other guys in play here, but that one stands out. And then I kind of like the Lev Bell angle of that spot as well. So in the running back position, and now obviously with CEH from the injury last week, that's going to be popular. I just didn't think as many people would like Lev Bell. Just the spot is so good. I get that. So there's a few things to look at here, and then some other games. I do like the Chicago game. That's why I brought it up. I like Trubisky's won how many million makers out there? That's something that stands out to me. There's a lot of ways you can go with it, and if Robinson's in, maybe less people are on him. If he's out, there's more angles to take because you can go back to a guy like Kmet. You can go back to, Anthony Miller, who people might not be on as much, and different things like this. There's other ways to go within that game. And then, I wish I did a better job. Last week you guys were talking some 2v2s earlier. Basically my main or quote-unquote cash lineup had Hurts. I was joking all week. Jalen helps, not Hurts, and he definitely helped. He played some great football. And, if I had to just correlated it with, this is a little bit off the board, but that's the point of GPPs. If I had went, instead of the safety plays at wide receiver, went with like Hopkins and Greg Ward, that was like a massive difference of like 40 points that would have really put me in play in a lot of the higher dollar, smaller field tournaments. So looking to do that this week, looking to get after a little bit, man. But the slate looks good overall. There's definitely angles we can take. There's still some decent totals that are spread out. So interested to get your boys' thoughts as we go through some of it.
Yeah, shout out to my boy Head Chopper for winning the $1 million.
Oh, yeah.
And then does a video, and he talks about David Montgomery in the lineup and how he's electric. He literally stole that from me. I just want to say that we talk about it in the chat all the time. I guess he gave me an apology. He gave an apology on the OG pod. But shout out to him, man. How awesome would that be to win $1 million twice? Win $1 million once, I would do.
I was just going to say, I'll take it once. I did a show with them today. Congratulate them. Told them how much I just love his stuff. Man, I've been a Chopper fan for so long. So happy for the guy. Like you said, win it once. Awesome. Win it twice. Just incredible. Also, for the OGs and you guys as well, if you remember, Chambers Bay, he doesn't want to remember this, but Dustin Johnson just absolutely screwed him with a 3-putt at the end where he should have had his first Millie Maker win. And to then bounce back from that and win 2 more in the last couple of years is just incredible. Still doing his thing. Love to see it.
You got any
2015 that definitely happened.
You got any Jalen Hurts autos? Prism autos?
I don't have any autos right now. I will see. I have a lot of Prism stuff on the way. I got some nice Prisms. I got some good silvers and stuff. A few in there that are nice.
Yeah, no, I'm into the box breaks now. I'm into the box break.
All right.
That a boy. Good. Yes. We gotta do a 3-man box break.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
All 3 of us.
Nah, I ride solo, my man.
No.
Of course he does. He ghosts us.
Yeah, he ghosts us all the time. Ghosts us. Doesn't even know that we're here.
That's because I had the worst weekend of like my DFS career. I lost so much money in a 24-hour period that it was disgusting, and there was never anything. Like I just hide. I just didn't think
We
a
forgive
lot
you.
of bad
explain,
thoughts.
Kirkwood. We forgive
So
you, man.
this week's
Christmas
gonna be. It's
spirit.
already been rebounding. It's been good. NBA thankfully has been back. But anyways. So let's start it off at the running back position, as we always do. Let's talk about some plays. So it looks like Austin Eckler is going to be extremely chalky at 7,600. Be interesting to hear your guys' take because, he still does have Balaj to worry about vulturing him from. But, he just gets such a nice floor with that passing game work. Plus Denver's defense is kind of decimated at the moment. David Montgomery, Mr. Electric in the matchup, just unbelievable matchup against Jacksonville, especially with potentially banged up. Is he banged up? What is his deal? Allen Robinson, but hamstring. That's something I never want to see is hamstring. I've always preached that. Like, that's something I stay away from. Like I'll pretty much ignore injury news if like someone's on track to play, but whenever I see hamstring, that's the one. Just in my experience. But So those guys are going to be cash game building blocks, but also going to pick up a lot of ownership in tournaments. Then we've got Le'Veon Bell with Clyde the Glide no longer healthy and playing, so he's 5,800. James Robinson's been dinged up all week. Did not practice on Friday. Still questionable. He said he feels healthy and plans to play. That'll be interesting. And there's guys like, the Melvin Gordon, certainly that news with Lindsey. I played Gordon on a slate recently, and I think it was like a Saturday slate. Does that make sense? Against Buffalo, he came through. I'll have no problem plugging him in again in this spot. Yep. I mean, how can you ignore that, Philip? It's just all the stars aligning for Melvin Gordon. The interesting takes, which I want to hear, is that Cam Akers out now. It's Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown. What do we do there? Who's going to get the workload there against Seattle? And it's not the best matchup for the run game, but certainly you hope that the Rams are going to put on a good showing after a complete embarrassing loss to the Jets last week. Then a bunch of other dudes, some other plays that we'll get into, but that's kind of the chalk at the moment. What do you guys see?
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, obviously, it's people who have faded David Montgomery this far along have definitely lost money. He's been putting up some monsters, and then just his usage in this offense in general, right? No A-Rob should only help him out. I just pulled up playoff scenarios just to see kind of like what's going on here. And the Bears are 7-7. Arizona's got the last spot at 8-6. So they have everything to play for. Do is give the ball to David Montgomery. So yes, he deserves to be chalk. Eckler, I actually like a little bit more than David Montgomery, but definitely like both of them in this. So, and Eckler you're getting for $7K on RG for whatever reason. They have him at 7.7K. That's kind of weird. Do you guys know is Eckler 7K or 7.7?
7.6 Eckler.
What? Now we have 3 different pricing? Oh, I'm on FanDuel. Sorry. That's yes. Okay. Yep. That's the issue. But yeah, no, I still like Eckler a little bit more at 7.6 there. So, and then Kamara, Aaron Jones, or Kamara. Kamara already played it, so Aaron Jones.
I can play Kamara, let me play him.
Can we press rewind?
Dude, I made the nut lineup yesterday, but I didn't enter it because I was like, I'm not gonna enter it. Like, because I put a placeholder in, and I was so mad that I didn't enter it.
I can't do that because then that exact scenario happens. So I just play I play multiples, so I don't lose out on that.
Yeah,
I didn't play the slate, is what I'm saying. Like I created the lineup and then never even entered it.
Yeah. I'm probably on, like, when we're talking about backups getting featured, I'm probably a little bit more on the Darrell Henderson over Gio Bernard side of things. But yeah, Melvin Gordon should be in a really good spot here to take over a huge role. So I like that too. Tambo, what are you seeing at the running back spot?
At that bottom piece, I do like Bernard. I talked a little bit about this week, and I think the thing is, like, his ownership's actually less than Henderson's because people are just naturally going to go there because that don't really love the matchup, don't really like anything McVay does, don't really, the Rams is, to me, it's always a passing game back and forth.
Bernard is a smash.
Yeah, I really like Bernard, 4.8K against Houston. We've been targeting this spot quite a bit. People, even last week, they didn't play him with, Mixon's been up
because of the fumble. They didn't play him because of the fumble, but he went right back into the lead role.
I really like that spot. Just moving up the board, give you a few more of mine. I mentioned the revenge portion of the Melvin Gordon. That's the other side too, with Eckler getting all the ownership. Obviously, the thing about those two is they both can be in play. The price separation, the fact that Eckler does it through the air and with passes and checkdowns and things like that. But I do like what you said, Kirkwood, the stars aligning, and get after a guy like Gordon to be able to have his spot, at least a touchdown or something. You see it's going to happen, something like that. I'm in on Bell. I know he's chalk, but I just think this is, again, another spot where they can just utilize him. I'm not going to be too heavy on him as the week's gone on. I really liked him a lot more if he was going to stay around that 10% range, and now he's up to 20. There's just so many weapons there that they can use. It's not like CEH was doing much. So for them to go to him as the ultimate game plan, I don't really see it as much. Again, earlier in the week versus now, I thought people would be out. People are pretty much all in by the looks of things. So I'm not really as high on that as I was to start the week. I'll edit any content that I've got here at RG to fix such because, I'm not believing in that as much. And then Montgomery, man, people say you can still buy Bitcoin at 25,000 or whatever it's at. So I don't know if there is, a spot that's better, like you said, for a guy that's just been playing electric, if you will, as you put it. So, gotta like some of that. And I guess the only other guy that kind of stands out a little bit there is Miles Sanders in the middle. Just, wasn't the greatest, but last week's attempt, still 17 rush attempts. Hurts being in there sort of, we talked about this last week, helps out these guys in these spots. Didn't help him as much, but I think it can. If you look at the last couple of weeks, Sanders has had, 4 and 4 for red zone opportunities. That's 8 and only 1 touchdown out of it. I think there could be some positive regression, if you will, for that as well. So I like him sort of being mixed into the middle there between all these guys at the top and the bottom. Any love, though, for Chubb? He's at the very top, not really getting any steam for ownership, but I've heard a few different places mention him as sort of the ultimate GPP pivot. And again, we've been targeting this Jets pass game, but it didn't work out too well last week. So what's your thoughts on Chubb, Kirkwood?
Everyone wants to play the running back against the Jets. And I got sucked into it last week, and I stupidly played Cam Akers over Derrick Henry and paid up. And just stupidity. And that was the first time I've done this. I've been preaching, you just play the passing attack against the Jets. That's what you do. Everyone wants to play because they just envision a blowout, but it's it just never works out. They're also better at stopping the run. They're just Swiss cheese in the secondary. So
we didn't expect the Jets to win either. I mean, that was just
correct.
Ridiculous.
No, game script certainly was different path, but and Goff is man. I mean, I didn't expect Goff to struggle as poorly as he did, but I think Chubb is fine. When I was looking at this, so my thoughts on what you were saying. We were talking Le'Veon. I think Le'Veon Bell is like a full fade.
It's got more disgusting as the week went on. I'm really not feeling it anymore.
I would play 100% Melvin Gordon versus, or whatever of my Melvin Gordon, add whatever your Le'Veon Bell is and just fade him. It would be what I would do. And I also think that, and I want to hear Brett elaborate on this because he didn't like Gio, but I think Gio is incredible play at 4,800 because it's he's all right. So I guess you could say building for the future and all of that stuff, but the writing was on the wall last week. They slotted him right back into the lead back, and so maybe if he fumbles and does a stupid fumble on a first touch again, then he gets benched. But I just don't see it. And this is Houston. This D is atrocious. And then also he's kind of game script proof because he's the passing down back. He gets the passing work. So it's 4,800 against the team that just can't tackle. Stands out to me. That. I was just looking at that fresh in my head, and those. So those are the two I love. So give me some fire on what your reason was, Brett, on fading him, or not liking him as much in comparison to some of the other.
So no, it was mainly comparing Darrell Henderson and Gio.
Yeah.
Now I agree. Both are actually good plays. I'd rather play a guy based upon how I feel about him as a player. But you're right. I mean, this Houston defense is ridiculously bad. We've played guys like James Robinson all year who have been on losing teams. Exactly what Cincinnati is. And I think Gio is kind of going to be in this James Robinson role for Cincinnati. So, 100% in play. Play them both, But I was just comparing Darrell versus Gio. Probably at this point, I side with Darrell a little bit more than Gio, but can't blame you for wanting to play both. There's a lot of good running back plays this week.
I was going to ask, what about, I mentioned him earlier, just jokingly, but he kind of does pop up for this, the other side of that game with Houston there. What about David Johnson and his spot for just 6,100?
Yeah, ridiculous amount of targets last week, but no, I'm not in on that at all. What did he have? He had 10.
I kind of would be. I kind of want to be in.
11 targets.
I've been away from him forever, but like now it's like their offense just has nothing, and they're finally showing that ability to like utilize him in the pass game. There's no Duke Johnson, and it's like,
well, this could hurt him too. But he did get 5 red zone chances last week. He converted on 0, mind you, but still.
Yeah, he sucks. Again, he's dust. But if you're gonna like it, it's not like the Bengals are very.
Wait, 5 of his 8 attempts last week were red zone?
Yeah, 4 through the air and 1 rush. Yeah, those targets were something serious last week, 11 of them. So, I mean, they gave him all the opportunity in the world. It was just, what was he going to do with them? And that's why I said it could come back to hurt him because of that. But
normally I don't play guys that look dusty at the end of the year or have age issues at the end of the year. I'll play younger guys. So I'm off on David Johnson.
I'll go back to your Chubb. I can get on board with Chubb. I think Chubb is better than a lot of these other spots, like these Myles Gaskin, like these other guys. Like, I think just because the Browns are typically a run-first team when they're clicking, and they have such a good offensive line to run behind, that creates enough of an advantage where, like, and then you picture the game script and all that I think that, you may be onto something with Nick Chubb this week. Tambo. My first instinct was not to like it, but now I think maybe I'm going to write him down and give him some more consideration.
Just, don't get too – I mean, this is Saturday at 2:08 Central, and they haven't made the flight yet. So there's a good shot.
Yeah, that's that tracing. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
I mean, that could affect it in a lot of different ways too. Talk about Washington, the McKissick. I mean, Antonio Gibson comes back to me. Like, I was so mad when he went down with that turf toe in that game because I remember specifically because everyone was playing. Benny Snell was chalk, and I thought that was the easiest fade ever. No one was going to play Gibson. He busts like a 13-yard run and goes down. And from stubbing your toe, which always amazes me. But anyways, do you think if he comes back, do you think he's like all systems go? He's ready? Like, do you think it's just going to be like limited work for him? What do you guys project?
Yeah, I think he comes back into his same role, and then JD goes back to the third down role. So yeah, I could see them putting both on the field. I want to play McKissick. Mike Evans another touchdown.
No one's going to want to play McKissick at 6,400, but like with McLaurin out of the offense, like that's a lot of target potential opportunity.
Yeah, and you want the first down, second down back versus Carolina. The pass catching role, obviously, Gibson still was there. The last few games that he played, it's 7 targets. So it was kind of a weird year for Gibson in general, like how he was utilized. But yeah, the last game that we saw him, he had 7 targets and 5 catches. So.
And they faded Barber out, which doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think Gibson slots right back into his role. McKissick probably slots back into his role. The big thing here is who is ready to go. Gibson's still questionable. McLaurin looks like he's for sure out. We still don't know which quarterback is playing. If Alex Smith goes, I do like dump offs a lot more, obviously. And,
I was just going to say that. For me, it's all hinges on Alex Smith. I think we already established this a couple shows ago, or maybe 3 or 4 now, but it was like all the McKissick stuff was to do with Alex Smith. He's the key piece there that makes this thing move. If he's in, I love the call you guys are talking about here with McKissick because it is just going to be check down city, might get himself 11 targets. No one's going to play him. Perfect large field play. And whether Gibson's back or not, I think he's fine. He's in play if Alex Smith is there for me.
Yep. Okay. Any other guys? J.K. Dobbins, perhaps.
Miles Sanders at 7K. I think you touched on him a little bit, Kirkwood, but
it's Tambo did. Yeah.
I mentioned him. Yeah, I like him. Brett, go ahead.
Yep. So that would be I know you mentioned Nick Chubb. Miles Sanders, I'd be more in on a very low owned guy. Let's see. Currently, we have Sanders at 9.9%, Chubb at 11.8. So, I think there's a good shot Sanders outdoes Chubb here, and I would take that percentage ownership savings and price savings there. So, yeah, give me Sanders for under 10%.
What about any Ito Smith potential?
Yeah, I mean, coming off a word that he now basically is the starter, right? Do you guys have the quote by chance? It came right from the coach.
Yeah.
So,
1 second.
Just basically saying that, hey, Ito's their guy now, and you're getting him for dirt cheap at 4K. We know KC has kind of looked to stop the pass, and their rush game defense has kind of been very average to bad, and which is exactly what you want your defense to do. You want them to just focus on stopping the pass, and hey, if we give up 3 to 5 yards a crack, go for it. But yeah, Ito's stepping into a great role, and I think 100% he should be in your player pool, especially at 4K.
Yeah, he's dead minimum, and they called him the lead runner right now. They said Gurley's role has changed.
And they're a team that has nothing to play for, so why not try out some of these guys that are somewhat fringe guys that we don't know what they're going to be for our future. Atlanta, that's the perfect time to utilize Ito Smith 100%.
All right. Yeah, I got no one else left.
No.
Yep, I'm right there with you though. That I'm fading Le'Veon Bell. Don't know what you guys decided on David Johnson, but I'm fading him. Chris Carson would be another. I would want a little bit of a sprinkle with Chris Carson. Don't know if the Rams just didn't show up why they didn't show up last week. But my God, the Jets looked amazing versus the Rams. So they have to go to Seattle. And now, I mean, this is a really big game, hosting the Rams for Seattle. Give me Chris Carson in this spot because the Rams are going to be able to definitely pass rush this offensive line hardcore. How do you defend against that? You stuff the ball to Chris. Again, I know, Tambo, you don't like talking about cornerback wide receiver matchups, but knowing that this Rams defensive line is going to be able to get through to Russ real quick, they're going to have to do quick passes. And Ramsey, should be lining up way more on the outside versus Metcalf. That makes me think a lot of more dump offs to Carson and Lockett. I really like Chris Carson here at 6,400.
Yeah, I could get behind it. I think the other side, like you said, I kind of would prefer that Rams defense with Henderson that we just talked about earlier. Just a little bit of a secondary correlation that you could have in there. And Russell Wilson still throws picks and gets sacked. I get it. They're a great team, MVP candidate, everything that goes on there. But just, again, looking for a way, if Henderson's picking up all that ownership at almost 20% he's showing now, a way just to level it up one more way would be to put it with the Rams D, because I don't think many people want to take them against Russ.
All right. We good for QB?
Yeah, let's move to quarterback and tie it in with some stacks and whatnot.
Quarterback coming in at the top because of a monster probably implied team total. 32.25 team total for the Chiefs is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense against Atlanta, who is just extremely vulnerable in the secondary. So, he's expensive at 8,500, but pretty much everybody's expensive. That's good, right? So right below him, then the guys I would be interested in would be Jalen Hurts, who's just, he's just too good, I guess. Just looked amazing again against Arizona. He's running the ball. 18 attempts in the first game, 11 attempts last week on the ground, rushed in for a touchdown, threw for over 300 yards last game, 3 TDs. So against Dallas's defense, which is playing better recently, which I'm not sure that people have come around to enough on their defense at this moment, but still a good spot. Deshaun Watson, 7,600, a little bit higher price because of that matchup with Cincy. And that game, has the potential to just be, to score a lot of points in, with just two poor defenses. if you want to play Matt Ryan, you can for the cheaper end, 5,800. Certainly it worked out last week with no Julio again against the Chiefs. I mean, they're going to have to pass. Justin Herbert is there in play, who, after a horrible performance against New England, then had a kind of mediocre performance against Atlanta, but had a strong showing against the Raiders for 31 fantasy points. So he's back. And I know Tambo's opening up box breaks looking for those Herbert autographs. Lamar Jackson, Baltimore against the Giants, 8K. I don't know. But and then there's Trubisky, 5,700, which makes sense. And if Robinson is out, then man, you've got some. If they do pass, which I know it's a way to get off of that Montgomery chalk, and if they do pass, that's going to be some affordable pass catching options. If for some reason Robinson is unable to go with the hamstring, or it's more of a decoy out there. I don't know. I'm not really interested in anyone else. I don't think, unless I'm missing someone. What do you guys got?
Yeah, my quarterback pool is pretty tight this week. So I have 7 guys queued up, but could easily just go down to 5. So you hit Mahomes, then Jalen Hurts. Don't really need to say too much. I think that performance by Hurts might have been the most impressive quarterback day fantasy-wise that I've seen all year. Against Arizona, I mean, we already saw him check mark against the Saints, and that Saints defense is I don't know if you guys want to consider the Saints defense top 5, but if they're not top 5, they're just on the outside of top 5. And he definitely did well there. And then the Cardinals, my gosh, I don't know how many drops Goddard had in that game, but it was ridiculous. I mean, the kid was putting the ball exactly where it needed to be. At the second to last drive, Goddard definitely dropped 1, possibly 2. Don't know. I mean, I'm sure Goddard will tell you that he needs to catch both of those balls. But, yeah, I mean, Philly should have won that game. So, and at 7K, we know how high his floor is running the ball. At 7K, I mean, I know you want to say Dallas's defense has been better than what they've shown the whole season. But, I mean, Hurts crushed against the Saints. He's going to crush against Dallas. Don't have to worry about weather in the dome in Dallas. So I like that spot. Deshaun Watson at 7,600 makes sense. Kirkwood, I would like to hear a little bit more about Justin Herbert when we come back to you. Trubisky, yes, everything's looking good for Trubisky. The only issue here is questionable A-Rob. So probably don't love him as much, obviously, with no healthy A-Rob. Baker Mayfield, we just talked about how we want to isolate the passing offense versus the Jets. Baker had 3 terrible weather games in a row. Outside of the weather, he's looked amazing. And I love the way Cleveland's been clicking offensively, throwing the balls. So, yeah, Baker at 6,100, yes. And then Matt Ryan at 5,800. Again, no Julio. We know Kansas City. We like to run the ball versus KC. I'm still okay taking some shots here with Matt Ryan, and those are my 7 guys. Tambo, what do you like?
I like that last one, the Matt Ryan one. Just the opposite side, right? I love this all the time. Everyone's on Mahomes. I get it. We always talk about this. The other side of it is Ryan, so I can go that way. We know a couple things. Ridley with Julio always has been a thing. Other guys you can stack up with it. Kansas City on the other side has lots of guys to bring it back with. So there's so many ways you can go in that game. It's right there. I'm still going to stick with Trubisky. I know that the Robinson thing affects it, but I'm with Kirkwood on the hamstring thing. If he goes and the hamstring's an issue, then hopefully people still stick with him, and that would be something I'll talk about on my Sunday show before lock. We'll see what the news is, but I'll probably move off. I don't mind the guys behind him. I don't mind going back to the well with Cole Kmet. I don't mind Anthony Miller, guys like that. So, I'm still in there, and I like that Ryan is right there with them. I'll save the other 2 down below. I'm back on Hurts. Talked about this already, but too much. The price didn't go up enough, right? They had it way wrong last week, which we knew, and I think everybody did. But this week at 7,000, maybe that deters people. If it had been 6,900, maybe more go that way. But he'll have ownership. I just don't know, like, if it's enough, right? That's the thing. So I'll still take my shots there with him. Mahomes at the top, if I'm paying up, I think is the spot, regardless of everything else. It's just still the better play. The guy that can get there in 2 quarters. First half, he can be there as far as scoring goes, almost like how Brady did it today. So 30-something points for him there would be plenty. And then you work it out from there. There's lots of different punt plays you can use with them, guys like Mecole Hardman, different guys that, you got Kelsey, you got Hill, you got all the normal guys, and then you've got punts like Hardman, who I just mentioned, that you can put with him. So I like that. And the 2 cheaper guys I was just going to throw out there was Andy Dalton. So I talked about liking Sanders in that game. Get Sanders, get the ball out there, get rolling with it. And then Andy Dalton's going to come back with his targets. He's 5,500. He's pretty cheap. I think we could see some action there. And then
that secondary is Swiss cheese. It's complete. It's just decimated. So
5,500.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can play any of those. You can play Amari, obviously, CD, or
CeeDee Lamb. I like quite a bit.
Yeah.
He's been doing.
Oh, and you get that
lately.
extra equity with CeeDee Lamb returning onside kicks too.
Everything. Yeah. I think he's got the upside there anyway. And I think that's the thing, right? And if you look at Dalton and, how he's been utilizing guys, I think there's a lot of opportunity going that way. And then I even would go down. This is the other side of that Herbert situation, which I'll let you go on in a second there. You mentioned the box breaks, certainly looking for him. The values are just stupid on that. He's likely rookie of the year, but Drew Lock, the other side of that game, this game has a huge total. And we saw it a couple of weeks ago where Lock was just slicing and dicing. What was that game where it was like Hamler and Tim Patrick got there? I think, Carolina Panthers threw for 280 yards, 21 out of 27, 4 touchdowns. That's huge at 5,000. I'm not saying it's going to happen here, but I do like him at 5,000 even down there. I think some people will go to Glennon at 4,800. I prefer going to Drew Lock, and I still think Hamler and those guys are good plays. So I could definitely see myself going down there. That sort of rounds out the guys that I'm on heavy.
Yeah, Bosa being out is big for Lock too. Potentially for their offense as a whole. Yep. The reason I like Herbert is, so there's a lot of players that are out. So first of all, you're going to get some extremely cheap, some offensive weapons because Hunter Henry's out. So what is it? Is it Parham?
Donald Parham Jr., XFL superstar.
Yep. In play, we'll see. Keenan Allen is questionable. We'll see how that shakes out, but you just get some cheap weapons with him. Plus, he does bring some rushing to the table. I just think that game could pop off in general. So that's all. But yeah, those are the guys. That's the pool. Did anyone say Baker?
Yeah, Brett did. Brett always loves. He's a Baker truther. I can't stand Baker Mayfield personally, but I think he's a good play in fantasy, and that's all I really care about. So you could use him for sure, and it's that matchup we talked about earlier. It's just whether or not he shows up and does it here.
Yep. So that's wide receivers. Let's bring it on over there. Tyreek is going to be extremely popular with the pairing from Mahomes. Plus, there's a lot of value that's popped up everywhere that you can make lineups. He's certainly not cheap. He's $9K, but you can make it happen pretty easily. So, and he had pretty much a floor game of 17 fantasy points against the Saints, the last one. So he does, bring a ton of touchdown equity to the table too. Calvin Ridley, monster week last week against Tampa Bay, back-to-back monster weeks. And Julio's out again. In a game where they're going to have to be passing from behind, just makes a lot of sense. If Allen Robinson were healthy, I'd be certainly interested in him as a way to play off of Montgomery. But as soon as I saw that hamstring, that's I would probably be looking for some of the other guys. Mooney, big play ability, certainly. I want to target anybody and everybody against Houston. So T. Higgins stands out at 4,700. Doesn't have the best quarterback, but certainly a play that certainly a play that I can get behind though. Let's see who else. Brandon Cooks.
Kirkwood, I didn't hear you talk too much about Herbert. Are you in on Keenan Allen, Herbert, and then bring it back with Melvin Gordon this week?
Yes, I'm in, but I don't know if Keenan's going to play. I'm in with either any of their cheaper pass catching options, and depending, make up my mind. I mean, I would love to play Keenan, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
He's questionable. We'll have to see.
You're the Herbert truther, so I'm going to you on that one.
But like Melvin Gordon's going to run all over them, so they're going to have to be chucking. All right. I don't know. Like, man, there's no like great standout. I guess Amari Cooper is actually like completely a standout play for me this week. 5,700. We saw what Hopkins just did. This secondary just has nobody anymore. Is Slay going to be back?
Does it matter?
It doesn't really matter, especially if he's banged up. But like, it would make me feel much better even if he's not. I mean, if he's not there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If he's not, it's even better. Exactly.
Darius Slay concussion is practicing in full for Week 16 against the Cowboys.
Okay, then I still obviously favor Amari Cooper, but maybe that makes Gallup a little bit more interesting and CeeDee Lamb a little bit more interesting. But anyways, I like that. I mean, the prices are just so good on those guys, so I have to be interested there. I don't know, Jarvis Landry or Higgins. I'll let Brett decide between which one's better of the play there.
Come on. Everybody's been making mistakes on this one all year too, or since the weather's been good. But
the
Yahoo,
one time that we dogged him though is when Kirkwood went off. He would have won everything for Kirkwood. You're saying we've been on Higgins for a while. You and I both like Higgins, and then said, don't play Landry.
Yahoo Landry was $1 more, and he was the chalk, and Higgins was $1 cheaper, and he was not the chalk. And I thought it was an easy Higgins play, but we know that Higgins is getting the air yards. Target share has been basically similar. I mean, it's easily Higgins all day.
Man, I
also getting the high opportunities. The thing is, yeah, I mean, Landry can still go off in this spot, but if you're gonna have to pay ownership and a premium on it, I mean, yeah, give me Higgins.
That means Landry, because I was gonna say the same thing. So just plug in Landry and make your money, Kirkwood.
I like Landry. He's got the 24% target share. What do we got?
You're paying higher ownership, way of a higher price tag.
But they just don't pass enough. So it's like I just think he's the better.
Again, don't look at you can't include those weather games. Yeah, those weather games.
Actually, you know what? You can play them both against the Jets.
There's been no team that's ever dealt with the extreme weather like Cleveland has this year. So I mean, everything's going to look skewed because we already deal with small sample sizes. This Baker Mayfield Cleveland stack is one of the easier stacks you'll have all year.
I mean, you just look at targets. It's 95 targets to 50 targets on the 49 targets.
And there's plenty of good Jets bringbacks too. I mean, this game is sneaky shootout right here.
And we talked about it a million times this season too. You don't need to use Jets in a bringback.
Yeah, you don't. Maybe Mims, but
yeah, we keep putting.
That's just what that's my default. That's what I say. That's my default saying. Maybe Mims.
Yeah.
Mims is the most talented, but what do we know about Sam Darnold is when he was at USC, he utilized Juju Smith in the slot. The Jets have utilized the slot guy all year, whether that's Crowder, whether that's Berrios. So the Jets as an organization, they want to use the slot guy. I think we know that Mims is probably the most talented guy, but Perriman's also there. But, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong.
I think you can go very wrong with any of them.
I mean, you could go wrong. Yeah,
but it's going to be one of them, if not two of them. That's what matters.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, this slate is so wide open to me. DK Metcalf isn't going to be very popular because of Jalen Ramsey, right? But
right.
I'll take that grown-ass man over Jalen Ramsey in this spot. Like, he's like the one guy I'll take in any matchup. I don't know what else. What do you guys like? Anything else? If Mike Williams at 4,500, if Keenan's out potentially or hobbled, I mean, looks pretty good.
Or even if he's not, I think that one's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you on the Cincinnati guys, T. Higgins versus Houston. I think this is kind of a sneaky shootout game, two really bad defenses. But yeah, I mean, Houston could be had on the ground or through the air. And Cincinnati, you can actually just normally you beat them on the ground. So it's kind of weird because I don't like David Johnson. So I'll have to think about that a little bit more. But yeah, T. Higgins, AJ Green. I mean, everything's in play here. We have obviously an injury here, right? Which brings probably Alex Erickson into play. That's a UW guy. That's why I'm bringing him up. Yeah, I mean, T. Higgins, 4,700. AJ, easy play. No Boyd in the slot, so I'm guessing Erickson's going to be the guy. I know Erickson's their special teams guy too, so possibly a little double dip there. I don't know. Just throwing that out.
Yeah, I think it's going to be all Bernard. We'll see.
All cheap, though. I mean, everything, 4,700 T. Higgins. What do we got for – I mean, yeah, everything's just dirt cheap. So 4,800 Gio Bernard. Plenty of ways to do a vomit stack there.
I don't see, that's one thing good that you pointed out. Just forget just the plays for a second, but just to back it up a second, it feels like that's where the funny part is like there's no real expensive running backs this week over what 7,800. Chubb is the most, and the love is all going with $7,700 Montgomery, electric Montgomery. So you got that aspect of it. The quarterbacks that are cheap besides Mahomes. So I think Mahomes Kelsey just takes over, right? Because same at tight end. It's Mahomes it's Kelsey at 8,500, then drops all the way down to Andrews at 5,700, and then at wide receiver, we love that. So it actually will be even easier to get these, Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey stacks than ever before. So I'll still look to get some of these other guys now, like the Calvin Ridleys. I wish Robinson would play, but probably not. We'll see. There's a lot of guys in there that you can still use. The Lockett's, the Metcalfs. No one's talking about Pittsburgh this week. I think that's the spot, right? You got guys there.
Roethlisberger, puke.
Exactly, right? He's been bad. So it's just more about the overall construction and how you're going to build it up. I'm sticking with my quarterback, stacking it up, and then seeing what fits around it, trying to get something unique in there and get the upside that way. But I think some of the games that we hit on were the ones that, have the opportunities. The quarterbacks basically lead us into those builds. Was there any other guys, Kirkwood, that stuck out to you super cheap this week? I think, Sims is getting talked about for Washington, right? With the Terry McLaurin stuff. You got him. Mecole Hardman's down there. KJ Hamler is
Jets
down
guys,
there.
Cincinnati guys.
I'll take AJ Green, man. Yeah.
Planting the flag on AJ Green. Woo, baby.
Jeez.
Just took to week 16 for that.
I mean, I'll take anyone against. I would take you, line you up, and against Houston. And I would.
I got some
take,
speed, man.
I
got some
take
speed.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, okay. We have to plant our flag on one of the Jets wide receivers. Kirkwood, who's your guy?
I mean, I would probably actually I hate to say it. I hate to agree with you. I would like Crowder if I had to.
Yeah. All right. Crowder's my guy too.
That's who I would take, but I would just not take one.
Yeah.
I think that's.
But I could take Mims too, and
Mims' ceiling is ridiculous, but Crowder can get there just through catches and targets alone.
Yeah, that was.
Perriman's ceiling's right there too. So
he needs Joe Flacco. He's dead without Flacco.
Okay. There's a little bit of correlation more with Flacco, you think?
Yeah, the old school Ravens narrative, man. That's what worked. That's the only reason he became relevant again for 5 minutes. But it's fine. I'm with you. I think it's Crowder. I think that's the play. He's cheap. He's 45 for a guy that puts up 20 points often. That you'd be surprised. Go look at it. It's box score watching, but go look at the game logs for Crowder when Darnold and when everything's set right. The guy he uses is Crowder, and his floor ends up being like 15 just on targets alone, and then he can get you to 25 if he gets in. So there actually is a lot more opportunity with him than you would think. And yeah, Mims is a nice rookie, a nice little upside guy, but like I said, the money's sitting there. It's going to be Crowder on the line, so I like that.
I know you're a hater on wide receiver cornerback matchup, but they have Cleveland has Denzel Ward on the outside, right? So he's an elite cornerback, so he'll be seeing some time with Brashad and Denzel Mims. They have nothing inside, so Crowder's
going to. I mean, and Crowder just eats that up exactly. So I don't hate that. I think that's I know where your build's going now. I see where it makes sense. You know, you just talked about it with Baker. You get some of those.
Oh
guys.
my God.
Got it.
No,
Got it.
he found it.
So I was
He
gonna
found
give
it.
I was gonna give the people just a quick little
Oh
a
boy.
quick little rundown.
We get to
you
look
say-
behind the curtains.
No,
We get
no,
to
just
look
gonna
behind
say
curtains?
the best matchup for PFF Pro Football Focus.
What do you got
Um,
back there?
Well, Tyreek is the number one that's left.
Mhm.
Number three, or the number two that's left is AJ Green, baby, against Vernon Hargreaves.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
I would take him against anyone, like I said. So, look to him.
Yeah.
And
2014 DFS tips here. Use the PFF
CeeDee Lamb is
matchups and let's
pop.
play.
CeeDee Lamb matchup is
Lamb.
popping. There's another one for you. So those are some plays. All right.
I like Lamb.
I had lamb for Christmas. For dinner. I did.
Lamb chops are the
lamb.
best.
No, I had roast lamb.
Hey, Houston cornerbacks are terrible no matter where. So I mean,
I know.
I think they all.
But Hargreaves is the worst of them all.
But then Bernard is going to score 3 touchdowns on the ground against them, which we established earlier.
All AJ needs is one with his price. All right, let's bring it over to tight end. Who's going to be popular here?
Hold on, Kirkwood. With your love for Cincinnati wide receivers, is the quarterback in play for you?
No.
Finley.
Nope. I mean, yes, he is.
Do we know who's starting?
I would take you at quarterback against.
Do we know who's starting between Finley and Brandon Allen yet?
I don't know. I don't really
I
care.
got Finley.
That's what I have too, but I haven't looked at anything.
I'm not using them. I really only like it as a one-off.
But in that stack, in that Houston Cincinnati stack, we're taking Deshaun Watson.
So here's the thing: is
say,
you're gonna make your pool, and my pool is gonna have 3 Bengals. It's gonna have Gio, or it's gonna have a receiver option, which is gonna be Higgins or AJ Green. Maybe I would use some sample. I would use some sample. No, I'm not putting.
No, Erickson, baby.
Erickson's the guy if you're doing that. But I still like these guys opposite
speedy,
of.
Man.
But look, you mentioned it, Brett. You just had it. You had it right there. It's what Kirkwood's saying mixed with what you're saying. It's Deshaun Watson for cheaper. Then what is he? $1,900 cheaper than the lineups we know everyone can build. No problem. We just talked about it. Everyone can build Mahomes lineups. They can stack them any way they want with Hill, Kelsey, get all the top price guys at every position and feel great about it because of all these value plays. So you just step it down one tiny tier, get your guy in there with Deshaun Watson, and then put a Cincy guy across from him. And there you go. You're different, and you still got some upside.
So sick of Travis Kelsey getting there every slate. But
yeah, exactly.
Let's go over to tight end. He is going to be 80. He's 8,500. Are you guys going to play Travis Kelsey?
I am probably out at that price. And it's almost just because of the price. I barely ever am out on a expensive tight end because it's tough to hit a 20-point day out of any of these 4K guys, right? And you really just need at least a 20-point day, it feels like, in every spot to take down a tournament. But tight end this year, it's been so hit or miss. But I think you can get there with some of these 3 4K guys this week. So I'll definitely be under the field on Kelsey. I guess I don't know where the field is this week. But yes, I'll be under the field.
So Donald Parham is going to be, XFL guy that we were playing in XFL, and with Hunter Henry going down 2,500, he'll be popular. He'll get touted a bunch. Probably is being touted a bunch. I haven't heard, but I'm sure he is. Dallas Goedert is going to be popular. I have an interesting kind of take. I'm kind of pro Goddard over Ertz, but this week I'm a little bit different because of potentially ownership. Also, potentially, first of all, like the reports are that Ertz has been looking really good and healthy actually for once in practice. And I have a friend who's a Philly fan and can tell me all about it constantly. And then, last week his routes really ticked up. I noticed he had over 100 air yards, which really just tells you that he's not good at catching. But that's a conversation for another day. But certainly performed, the best. I wasn't really sure what to expect out of him, but, had 69 yards, 7 targets. That's nice. Now, only 2 receptions. However, this matchup is pretty good with Dallas. I don't know. It's like just a straight ownership play. Are they both going to be popular, or
No,
what do you?
I think just Goddard will be popular.
Then, man, I wouldn't. I kind of feel like this is an Ertz week then. Anyways,
I don't hate it.
Evan Ingram potentially, because he's cheap now against the Giants are playing for playoff football here against Tambo's Baltimore Ravens, 3,900. Dalton Schultz had a touchdown last week. Certainly someone that you can play for cheap.
Holy jeez, Donald Parham is 6'8", 240.
Well, yeah.
What?
That's
What?
what he does, man.
6'8"? I mean, is that the tallest NFL player of all time? Is there anybody taller than 6'8"?
I don't know.
It's crazy.
It's a big boy.
All right, so red zone targets.
Mark Andrews. What? Noah Fant looked was certainly getting some action against Buffalo. 11 targets, 8 receptions, had a touchdown. The thing, it's like every time I play this guy, he ends up going down with an injury. But he made it.
You know what the play is. Who was chalk last week?
Cole
Kmet. Yeah, but he's going to be chalk again.
No, he won't be chalk.
Yeah,
no,
he's not going to be owned.
No. All my boys were like, this guy sucks. He's terrible.
People were off him after the first quarter.
If I need to hear takes from donkeys or the populace, I just go to my boys, and
he is going to be popular. I'm telling you.
No,
he is not.
He's touted on ETR right now as the number
under
10%. He's the number 3 tight end play.
We got him at 5%.
10%.
And think about what's there, though. You've got Kelsey, Goddard, Tom, Akins, Parham, Fant. All these guys people are talking about already. Goddard. Or Zach Ertz even. Mark Andrews. There's
no Allen Robinson or a hamstrung Allen Robinson. The play is definitely Cole Kmet. He doesn't leave the field. At 3K, he's a smash.
I do like him.
Versus Jacksonville, yeah. I mean, if we want to do a little leverage, you fade Kirkwood's boy, Montgomery, and then we give at least 2 touchdowns to Cole Kmet. How are we doing? Let's do that.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
That ain't happening.
As Dallas Goddard or it's one of those guys is the play. Kmet has a good matchup. You're right. But I think he's going to be popular. But we'll see. Mark Andrews is someone that kind of stands out to me as because he's just kind of fallen out of favor. He's in that weird price range, 5,700. I don't think he's going to be extremely high owned against the Giants. Certainly a matchup he can win. Tambo, tell me yes or no.
Just looking at ownership right now, I don't hate it. That's like I said, it's pretty clear what's going to happen here is people are going to Kelsey because it's easily affordable. We already know they're on Mahomes. It all makes sense. Now this whole new thing the last 3 weeks have been, and I don't disagree with this. I'm just saying, but it just makes it more common is that tight end in the flex works with Kelsey because he's actually a wide receiver. He's beating wide receivers in yardage, all these factors. So again, I'm not disagreeing with that. I like it. I'm just saying that just makes it so he's that much more owned. And if not, then people are going down to Goddard, Ingram, Hurst, Akins, Kmet, all the guys that we just talked about, Parham. So I like Andrews this week being right in the middle and hasn't been necessarily this way this year, but the Giants against tight end has been a thing in the past. But either way, the point is Ravens have to win out. Talk about motivation. The Ravens just have to do their job and keep winning games. So what normally works is Lamar to Andrews. What has been working, that. So I just think they stick with it, gets in the end zone once. I like a Mark Andrews play this week for sure.
I'll throw out one more guy. Jasicki went off versus Kansas City. Gronk.
That game is today. We're talking about a 10-game Sunday.
No, he's given.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no.
Wait, you're talking about Gronk?
Sorry,
You were touting Gronk?
Yeah, I'm just talking about.
He's gonna tout Gasecki, but it's this afternoon.
No, I love Gronk this week.
Gronk is
I just want to be on
Hold
record
on,
to
guys.
say that.
Okay, let's go back.
You don't know what I'm saying, but Tambo must have misheard what I was trying to say. But anyways,
You were gonna
Jasicki
say
had a big
Hayden
game.
Hurst.
Hold on. Jasicki had yes, there you go. Jasicki had a 2-touchdown game. Gronk had over a 100-yard game. Waller had a 7-catch, 88 touchdown game, all versus Kansas City in the last. I think Hurst, we were kind of bitten by 2 weeks ago, and then he kind of popped off.
He scored last year.
Yeah, 5 targets, 4 catches. Matt Ryan does outside. There's just a one utilized guy in that offense right now, but I don't mind getting a little bit of Hayden Hurst in there because I'm gonna want to still stack this KC. So he'll probably be one of my more popular Atlanta bringbacks.
I got you now. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't hate it. And I liked your Ryan play earlier, so it does fit with that. Plus, I love Ridley. So there's those 3. We were going to do stacks here in a minute anyway. There's one of my stacks. Let's go with it. I like Ryan, Ridley, and then if you want to add in Brett's boy, I think that's a good call. And he's definitely bit some people in the past, so it shouldn't have much ownership at all, really.
All right. Let's take it over to stacks. I mean, we've mentioned a bunch, but let's give the people a final one or what we like the best.
Yep. You got yours, or should I go?
Yeah, I'm just gonna lead it off. I mean, I'm gonna say Jalen Hurts with either Zach Ertz or Goddard, or I don't even mind playing Hurts naked, but and just running it back with CeeDee Lamb or Amari Cooper. Man, I think Hurts is going to go off. That will be my chalk one. My less chalky one, I don't know who. So sell me. I don't want to play Brandon Cooks with.
Then don't.
Who can I pair with Watson? That's it's not David Johnson.
Do the good-looking kid, the kid on the outside.
The kid on the outside.
Yeah, Chad Hansen.
Chad Hansen. Yeah, I mean, he actually seems like he's like the legit guy now.
Hey, go look at his player page. He looks like a male model. That's why I said the good-looking kid.
It excites you?
I mean, the guy's got ridiculous bone structure. He looks like he's on The Bachelorette.
Depending on his age, we might have to get Scott Hansen in here on you, Brett, and get him. Yeah. What's going on here? But let's have to see.
The show took a turn for the weird turn.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I just want that situation, but I want to bring it back with AJ Green. AJ Green is coming through. That's my flag plant.
Wow.
But and then the last one. I mean, you gotta stack against the Jets. So Baker to Jarvis Landry.
Are you just going to take every stack possible?
Yeah, that's it. There's 3. 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay.
You can bring it back with Crowder, who I already said.
Just stepping on my toes over here.
You're allowed to.
Oh, we'll do – okay, the vomit stack is – you're right, Baker Mayfield, but you actually were wrong. You go Rashard Higgins. And then you bring it back with Crowder. I'm cool with bringing it back with 2 Jets, actually, because Cleveland, the way you beat Cleveland here is through the air. So I'm good with bringing it back with both Crowder and Mims or Brashad Perriman. But I side with Mims there. And then the best part about that is then you get to pay up at running backs. Go ahead, grab Kelsey in your lineup. You're all good to go there. If I'm just going to pay up for the nuts, it'll probably be in the Philly-Dallas game. So get Hurts in your lineup, and then you pair him up. I don't know. This is the tough part. I probably pair him up with Dallas Goedert. I don't hate going double tight end. You want to get really ridiculous, you pair him up with both Goddard and Hurts. You just hope you get 150 yards and 2 touchdowns out of those 2 guys. And then you bring it back with obviously a wide receiver from Dallas. I'm good with either of the 3, but I probably lean either Gallup or Amari. Fade that CeeDee Lamb special teams touchdown. I don't know why he's at 5,300. He doesn't deserve that price. Cooper is obviously the guy in that offense. So you go with Cooper or Gallup or both. And that would be my favorite 2 stacks.
I like I'll just go with the cheap ones that I mentioned. I like the, who did I say earlier? Now I'm lost my mind here. I got them organized the wrong way. Just 1 second. I like Andy Dalton, who you just mentioned, so I won't go on that one again. And I like Mitch Trubisky, regardless of the Robinson. I don't like Robinson with a hamstring and playing, like you said, so that one throws it off a little bit. But I am still in on Kmet. I like Miller. I like I didn't mention it earlier, but LaVisca on the Jacksonville side. So I think there's ways to go with that stack that can get you there and just leave you every dollar on the table to use it however you see fit. And then I like at the top there, I mentioned Jalen Hurts, who you talked about a little bit, but I'll switch it and say go to this Watson stack, because I do like the more and more we talked about the Cincy side. It's just who do you use them with? And like you said, maybe we get Chad Hansen, the good-looking guy in there, as you said. So we'll go with that stack for the more expensive one to round it out.
Great cheekbones. Good, great.
Look him up. Look him up.
Look him up. You'll see him in GQ after this season. He's moving on.
Hey, and don't forget about Darnell Mooney this week. It's starting to shape up like a crushing Darnell Mooney week.
Yeah,
all right.
Those Trubisky stacks, perfect.
We've rambled on too long. Let's go back to our holiday celebrations, watching the football games and whatnot. But appreciate everybody listening. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is that you celebrate. Happy New Year, right? So, man, and hopefully we have a much better next coming year than we've had this year. But this is the RGDFS Tournament Takes podcast, and we will catch you again next week. Thank you.
Happy holidays, guys.